السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسوله الكريم وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين أما بعد. Welcome back to the series of Al-Qaida An-Nooraniyyah explanation. I hope you've enjoyed our lessons so far بإذن الله. For more educational content, please subscribe to our channel and visit our website mentioned in the description below. I am Dr. Assia from Al-Uloom Online Islamic Academy. And in today's video, we're going to learn الدرس الخامس from القاعدة النورانية بإذن الله. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الدرس الخامس الحروف المنونة التنوين فتحتان كسرتان ضمتان. الدرس is lesson. الخامس is fifth. So this is the fifth lesson. الحروف المنونة, the letters with tanween on top of them or tanween on them. The letters with tanween, you need to know what tanween is. So tanween means adding noon. Okay, according to the dictionary, at-tanween yani adding noon. So when you see the double fatha, double kasra, and double dhamma on a letter, what you do is you just add a noon in the end. For example, look here, you had mim fathama, and you have mim fathatani, man. Ma becomes man. So you're just adding ma with an N sound in the end, a noon sound in the end. Man. Mim kasra is mi, and mim kasratani is min. So mi added with n sound, min. Okay, so tanween technically means adding a noon sound, adding a noon, yani a noon sound in the end. So it is a noon sakina, which is not written but pronounced. Tanween is basically a noon sakina, which is not written and pronounced. So you do not see a noon anywhere in these, but you do hear a noon sound, man, min, mun, like that. So that is what tanween is. Now, coming to the way you pronounce the names of tanween. I said fathatani, kasratani, dhammatani. Okay, fathatan, kasratan, and dhammatan is the original form of the word. Okay, but some people pronounce it as fathatain, kasratain, dhammatain. Tain is like either rafa or either nasab or jar form, accusative or genitive cases in Arabic grammar, if you know grammar. But if you don't know grammar, don't worry. There are two different ways of pronouncing it. Fathatani or fathataini. Kasratani or kasrataini. Dhammatani or dhammataini. Now, the first one of those two pronunciations is the natural pronunciation, which is the first thing that comes to your mind. And the second one is when something changes before it or after it, or something grammatically changes, and then you would say aini, like fathataini, kasrataini, dhammataini. Otherwise, the original form is fathatani, kasratani, dhammatani, or fathatan, kasratan, dhammatan. You just remove the ni sound and make just an n sound in the end. So this is better, but both of them are acceptable. But there are those who pronounce it like fathatin, kasratin, dhammatin, in sound. There's no in sound in pure Arabic Fusha. Fusha either has an or ain, like fathatan or fathatain. There's no fathatin, okay? Kasratin or dhammatin. So that is actually an accent. The way they're pronouncing is in an accent. And I learned Al-Qaida An Nooraniyyah from different teachers, and one of them used to think that and this fathatain, kasratain, dhammatain is correct. And that got me confused. So when I took exam, my sheikha, the sheikha who was taking exam said, where do you get n from? Like fathatain, kasratain, dhammatain, where did you get these sounds from? It's either fathatan or fathatain. And I know Arabic language, so I should have asked this question, why is this n sound here? Okay, so there's no in. Fathatain, kasratain, dhammatain is not correct. It's either fathatani, kasratani, and dhammatani. It should be accepted by all the mashayikh, all the teachers, because that is the original form of the word that is in musanna form, in dual form, like 2 fathas, 2 kasras, 2 dhammas, dual. Fathatain, kasratain, and dhammatain is also allowed, because those are either nasab or jar forms of the words. Moving on. Okay, so like I said in the last class, in the Ad-Darsul Rabi', I said that you know, we observe the colors and we observe the way different things are written in Al-Qa'ida An-Nooraniyyah, right? So here we're gonna check the color code again, and then we're gonna see what's happening. So here, mim, ba, waw, and fa are following the same color code as in the previous lesson. You have a blue color, so those are lip letters. I think you know those. And from sa, dal, dha, so we're going the opposite way. So before we did fa, waw, ba, and mim. Now we're doing mim, ba, waw, and fa, the opposite way. And then we're going sa, then dal, and dha, like that. So see, sa, then dal, then dha, like that. It's the same thing, the opposite way. Okay, so these are also the tongue letters. Sa, dal, and dha are the letters pronounced when the tip of the tongue touches the edges of the upper incisors. Za, sin, and sad, their makharij is tip of the tongue touching the lower incisors. Ta, dal, and ta, tip of the tongue with the upper incisors from the inside. So your tongue touches the roots of upper incisors, the gums of upper incisors, and some upper incisors to the teeth. Ra, tip of the tongue with the frontal part of the upper palate behind the gums. The noon, also tip of the tongue with the frontal part of the upper palate and the nasal passage. Lam, tip of the tongue with the frontal part of the upper palate. Bod, sides of the tongue, either one or both, with the upper adras, which are the grinding teeth. So 1 pair of premolars and 2 pairs of molars. Ya, sheen, and jim, these are pronounced from the middle of the tongue with the middle of the upper palate. For ya and sheen, the tongue comes close to the middle of the upper palate. And for jim, the tongue touches the upper palate and then moves away, j, like that. Kaf, back of the tongue with the intersection of fleshy and bony palate in the upper region. So there's a fleshy palate really behind, and there's bony palate where your tongue rests. So there's an intersection of those two. Back of the tongue touches that area to pronounce kaf. And then qaf is, well, back of the tongue with the fleshy palate really far behind, like that. Until here you got purple color, so those are the tongue letters. And then these are tan color signs. These are all throat letters. Kha and ghain are pronounced from the root of the tongue, like really back of the tongue with the uvula. So that is just the starting of the throat. Ain and ha, or ha and ain, are pronounced from the middle of the throat. And then ha and hamza are pronounced using the deepest part of the throat, which is really close to the chest and between the clavicle bones, or you can say the place where your vocal cords meet or vibrate. So to sum up, we have got al-huruf al-halqiyya, the throat letters, hamza ha, ain ha, ghain kha. Don't say alif ha. This is hamza. Like I said in the first very lesson, this is hamza in tajweed, whereas this is pronounced as alif in Arabic language. You're studying tajweed here, so this is hamza, inshallah. Okay, hamza ha, ain ha, ghain kha. Next, al-huruf al-shafawiyya, the lip letters. fa, wow, ba, and mim. Now these two are very important because the rules of noon depend on the throat letters, hamza, ha, ain, ha, ghain, kha, and others too. And the rules of meme depend on the lip letters, fa, waw, ba, and meme. You have to memorize these letters if you want to understand the rules of noon sakina and meme sakina perfectly. Okay. And then you have al-huruf al-lisaniyah, the tongue letters. These are 18 letters. So qaf, kaf, jim, shin, ya, dad, lam, noon, ra, ta, dalta, sad, sin, za, va, dalta. Those are 10 makharij. Qaf is 1 makharaj, kaf is 1 makharaj, jim, shin, ya is 1. So 1, 2, and 3. Dad is 4th makharaj, lam is 5th, noon is 6th, ra is 7th, ta, dalta are 8, sad, sin, za 9, va, dalta 10 makharij. So there's a 10 makharij for 18 tongue letters. Okay, and for lip letters, fa is 1 makharaj, lower lip with the upper incisors, and waw, ba, and mim is 1 makharaj, where you use both the lips together. You circle them for waw, close them for ba, close them and use your nose for mim. For throat, you have 3 makharij, hamza, ha, deepest part of the throat, ain, ha, middle part of the throat, ghain, kha, top part of the throat. That is the summary of all the makharij, in these 3 makharij. And then you have al-jawf, which is for mud letters, the empty space of mouth and throat. And the last one, al-khayshum, the nasal passage for noon and mim. There's nothing special there. You just use the nose for noon and mim, and you just use the empty space of mouth and throat for the mud letters. That's it. Hasanan. Now, the second thing, after observing the colors of the signs and what have you, the second thing you observe is the style or the pattern used. So if you observe, especially the fathatain, you have after fathatan, I got used to saying fathatain, subhanallah. After fathatan, I got alif. If you can see, there's alif. But here we have, I'm going to use another color, blue. So here you have fathatani followed by a ya, okay? And then again, all the remaining have alif. So that is like an anomaly. That is something which is not normal. That is something different, in other words. So what do you do when you see something like this? You need to find out the reason why they're written like that, okay? Okay, let's continue and see other letters are also with alif, alif. Ta marbuta is not with an alif, so let's give it a green color. The letters which are not with alif, the letters which are not with alif should be in green color, okay? And then let's see, this one with a ya was in blue color. Dal fathatain or fathatan with a ya is dal fathatan with a ya is in blue, okay? And then with alif, normal, red color, all the ones with alif, okay? All right, so this is very simple. Generally, we can say, it's safe to say that generally, fathatan is followed by an alif, okay? And that is an indication of when you stop, you have to use that alif. Like sun, if you stop at sin fathatani sun, it should be sa, not sun, okay? Like libasan, if you stop there, you would say libasa. Okay, so you're using this alif when you stop, and you're not using this alif when you continue. So you will continue and check more. Here, jim fathatani, kaf fathatani, and qaf fathatani are also with alif. Here, we got alif, 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 alif. And lastly, we got green color for hamza fathatani, which is not followed by alif. Okay, so let's understand what is happening here. Let me use the whiteboard. So basically what's happening is you either see fathatani followed by alif, which is normal. Okay, this is used to indicate that when you stop, so this is the end of ayah, or let's call it a stopping sign. So whenever you stop, this becomes alif mad. So for example, libasan becomes libasa. So that is what is happening. Okay, so if you stop at fathatani, let's do it like an equation. So if you stop at fathatani, what happens is it becomes alif mad. So that's the normal case, the normal scenario. The second one are the letters which are with fathatani followed by a ya, and the ya has nothing on it or underneath it. So these are the words that are like when you stop here, what do? So these are same as alif. Consider this as alif, but this ya is a chair for alif saghira or alif maqsura. Alif saghira or alif maqsura. The way you write Musa, okay, the way you write Musa. So Musa is like this. Now this ya generally is written with an alif, a small alif, or sometimes it's not even written. Okay, but in the Mus'haf it is written. In Arabic, if you're a student of Arabic language, you should know that a ya with nothing on it or underneath it, like there's no dots underneath it, is an indication that there is supposed to be a small alif on top. So ya is a chair for that small alif which cannot be seen, an invisible alif. So you read it as Musa. So whenever you see a ya like this with nothing on it, then you should consider that there is a small alif on it sitting and it is invisible. Okay, so what you do is you do not pronounce the ya, you pronounce the small alif. Okay, so it also becomes alif mad. Okay, just like that. This one also becomes alif mad. Okay, so the first example I gave the first example I gave was libasan. Okay, so we said libasan. When I stop here, it becomes libasa. Okay, if I stop at this word, it becomes libasa. So I'm prolonging sa a little bit because it's becoming a natural mad, al-maddu tabi'i. Okay, so you count 2 fast harakatain. Hassan, here what is happening is fathatain. So for example, you have hu and dal fathatain, followed by a ya. Okay, so what's happening here is you have, for example, ha dhammahu, dal fathatani, followed by a ya. It's like this. Like for example, you have hudal lil muttaqin, right? So you would see that hudan is written like this and ya has nothing on it. So if you are stopping at a word that is similar to this, so if you're stopping at this particular word, what would you do? You would read it as huda, huda. If you stop at hudan, you would read it as huda, because this fathatain and ya are becoming alif mad. So huda. All right, now let's go for the third one, which was in green color. The letters which we said are not with alif following them, even if there is fathatan on top of them. Here we have ta marbuta, 1, which is a pure exception to fathatani case. When you stop at fathatan, you're supposed to make alif mad. Okay, like libasa and huda. We talked about this. But here, what happens is when you stop here, you do not make it alif mad. What you do is you make it ha with a sukoon. For example, you have jannatan. If you stop at this word, it becomes jannah. It does not become jannata. You would say Jannah. Oh, sorry. You would not say Jannata. You would say Jannah. So Jannah. If you're stopping, you would make it Jannah instead of saying Jannata, because there is no alif to indicate that it is not going to be converted into alif mad. It is going to be converted into a ha sakina, which is not the case for ta maftuha. For ta maftuha, you would see alif following it, and if you stop at this one, you would make it like ashtata. Okay, ashtatan, ashtata, not ashtah. Okay, so this ta is different from this ta, and we talked about this in the second lesson, that ta marbuta is the sign of femininity, and it comes in the end of the feminine nouns, and you're going to convert it into a ha sakina whenever you stop it, whenever you stop at it. Hasanan. So this was one of the two cases where there was no alif following it. And there's another case where we said that alif does not follow. So let me just make some space here for the fourth case, inshallah. The fourth case is when you see a hamza fathatani with alif before. Okay, but there would not be any alif following it. So the reason, now Hamza Fathatani is not an exception. Hamza Fathatani is still to be converted into an alif mad when you stop at it. Okay, so Hamza Fatha, alif mad. So there will be alif before and there will be an alif after. For example, if you have the word ma and okay, so you count 4 counts for this mad muttasil, ma, and then hamza fathatani, an. But if you stop at this, you will make it ma. Okay, I had some of okay, I had some people tell me that since hamza fathatani does not have alif after it, it means that basically you're not supposed to add alif here. There's no alif mad. You're just supposed to say ma, like hamza fatha, ma, which is crazy. Where is dalil for that? There's no dalil for that. There's no proof that you have to just make hamza fatha. Either you completely close, either you completely remove. So either you completely remove the harakat and make it hamza sukun, make it ma, or you add alif and make it ma'a. Okay, there's no in between sukun and alif mad. So what you do is you convert it into alif mad. It's not an exception to that alif mad rule. The thing is, what you do is whenever there's alif before, we cannot write an alif after. Technically, there should be an alif after. And if you are reciting from a naskh mushaf, like from Indian Pakistani mushaf, you would see that there is an alif written afterward, because that mushaf is specifically designed for non-Arabs. So the thing is, whenever you have alif before, it's not liked in Arabic as a language. It's a grammatical rule, writing rule. When you write Hamza and there is already an alif before, it's not liked to repeat alif after. Consider Hamza as a person who is claustrophobic, okay? He does not like to be in really small spaces. It wants to have some breathing area for itself or himself, if you are considering him a person. Anyway, so Hamza is claustrophobic and it does not like, so Hamza is So Hamza is claustrophobic and it does not like anything after it if there is alif before. Leave it some room to breathe, okay? Consider it like this. So that is the reason we do not write an alif after Hamza Fathatani, but it is considered to be there. It is there, okay? So when you stop at ma, and you're supposed to say ma alif mad, okay? So that is the rule. And that's all. These are the rules that are explained in this lesson. Inshallah, we'll go ahead and read the entire lesson now. And we'll be reading with fathatani, kasratani, dhammatani. Okay? Which is the most natural way of pronouncing it. Okay? Let's start. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. الدرس الخامس الحروف المنونة التنوين فتحتان كسرتان ضمتان ميم فتحتان من ميم كسرتان من من ميم ضمتان من با فتحتان بن با فتحتان بن با كسرتان بن بن با ضمتان بن بن واو فتحتان ون واو كسرتان وين واو ضمتان ون فا فتحتان فن فا كسرتان فن فا ضمتان فن. So really let that haraka first be pronounced fun. Don't say fun like that. Some people do say that fun. I cannot hear either fatha or kasra or dhamma when you say that. So say fun, fun, especially when there is a kasra. People do that a lot, like min, bin, win, fin. Don't do that. Min, bin, win, fin. Okay. San, sin, sun. We're going to read directly. Then, zin, zun. Von, zin, zun. Zen, zin, zun. Sen, sin, sun. Son, sin, sun. Ten, tin, tun. Den, din, dun. Von, ton, tin, tun. Ron, rin, run. Ron, rin, run. Run. Ron, rin, run. Ron, rin. Ron, rin, run. Nan, nin, nun. Lan, lin, lun. Don, din, dun. Yan, yin, yun. Shan, shin, shun. Jan, jin, jun. Kan, kin, kun. On, qan, qin, kun. Khon, khin, khun. Gon, ghin, gun. غن 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 حن 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 عين فتحتان عن عين كسرتان عن 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 عين ضمتان عن 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 ها فتحتان هن ها كسرتان هن 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 ها ضمتان هن 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 همزة فتحتان أن همزة كسرتان إن إن همزة ضمتان أن. Okay, there are a couple of points that I forgot to mention, that sometimes you would see a hamza with alif after also when there is no alif before. Okay, so that is a very simple case scenario where you pronounce that alif when you're stopping, making it alif mad. So like shay'an, you have like shay'an. So it's written like shay'an with an alif after. So you would pronounce it when you're stopping, you pronounce it as shay'a. Okay, that is another case scenario where you would actually see an alif after hamza. Also, I pronounced ra. So run, rin, run separately, not together, because I wanted it to sound really clear for you to understand, because ra is a very delicate kind of letter. You have to be very precise when pronouncing it. Inshallah, we'll stop here bi'idhnillah. I hope you enjoyed today's lesson. If there's any mistake in this lesson, it's either from me or from Shaitan. And Allah is pure from all the mistakes, and all the beneficial knowledge is from Allah and Allah alone. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.